Do you ever feel like you don't have enough time to do anything? Like if only there was 25 hours in a day, you'd be able to do everything. Well, my friend, there is a way. There are 5 one-minute habits that if you implement properly, you'll literally feel like there are 30 hours in the day. Wouldn't that be great? Let's get into it. So the first habit is to draw the bow. Let me explain what I mean. Imagine you had an arrow and your goal was to launch it 100 meters away from you. There'd be 2 ways of doing that. You could either grab it, throw it as far as possible, then you'd run up to it, grab it again, throw it another 20 meters, then do it again over and over again until you reach the finish line. Or you could just grab a bow, draw the string with the arrow on it, and release. Now, what if I told you you were doing the exact same thing, like throwing an arrow, when you could just draw a bow with your productivity? It's the same thing when it comes to getting stuff done. You have those 2 options and you need to draw the bow. Let me explain. So the equivalent of throwing an arrow when it comes to productivity is basically starting your week with no clue what you're gonna get done. Starting the day and asking yourself, okay, what needs to get done today? Sitting down at your computer and thinking, what do I do in the next hour? Every time you make that sort of decision, it's like throwing the arrow over and over again. It is not efficient. So what's the opposite of that? What is the equivalent of drawing the bow and releasing? Well, it is to plan. It is to plan your month, your week, your day, even when you work. What this does is that you can get the most out of your month, out of your week, so on and so forth, just like drawing a bow and releasing. So at the start of the month, you draw your bow by asking yourself, what are the highest leverage tasks I could work on? What's the most important thing that needs to happen this month to get me closer to my goals? And then on Sunday night, when the week begins, ask yourself, in order to complete this month's goal, what should I complete this week? And then every single day, the night before, you make a to-do list, you decide what needs to happen tomorrow. And then when you sit down at your computer, you look at your to-do list and you say, in the next hour, I want to get through this part of the to-do list. These all take 1 minute and they're like drawing a bow and releasing. So your whole month is going to be so much more efficient if you just plan and sit down once and plan it out. It takes a minute. Same thing for your week, your day, and the next hour when you work. Stop throwing your arrow, plan everything. It is so much more efficient. It's going to save a lot of time because instead of just constantly asking, okay, what do I do tomorrow? What do I do today? Which can lead to procrastination or working on the wrong things or just wasted time overall. Well, you immediately get to work because you know what needs to happen this month, this week, tomorrow, and this very moment. The next 1-minute habit that saves me over 25 hours per week are starting rituals. I've spoken about this a few times in the past videos, but a lot of people waste time trying to focus, right? You sit down to work, your mind is agitated, you were maybe doing something else just now, you maybe don't want to work, there's just a lot of stuff going on in your head, you're getting distracted by your phone or the computer or anything else. It takes a while to focus, you lose a lot of time each and every single day. Well, starting rituals, they basically fix that and they take a minute to do. Starting rituals are a series of steps that you do before working. And you do those specific steps in that specific order every single time your mind starts to associate those steps with working. Because every time you finish the last step, you get to work. And when you do that 30 days in a row, well, your brain is going to start to associate those steps with working and it's going to help you get into focus mode. Here's an example of a starting ritual that you could literally just start using today. So the first step would be to set up the work conditions. So when I talk about work conditions, it's basically everything surrounding the work, meaning opening your computer, setting up the necessary tabs. Maybe if you need a notebook for whatever reason, you've got it open, you've got your earbuds, you're in the right clothes. Those are all the work conditions and you would want to set those up as the first step. The next step would be to take 3 deep breaths just to kind of slow down, calm yourself, get ready for work. The third step would be to clap 5 times. Why not? Just clap 5 times. And then the fourth step, start with the same song every time. Your brain is going to start to associate that same 2-3 minute song. Then you can play whatever you want after that, but always the same one at first. And as soon as you hear the first note, your brain's going to be like, okay, focus time. And then the 5th step is just to start working. Do this every single time. I'm telling you, for 30 days, you're gonna feel a huge difference every time you start with the first step. You're gonna be ready to initiate the starting ritual and get to work as fast as possible. If you click the first link in the description, you're gonna be able to pass my free productivity type quiz. You basically answer a few questions about your productivity, and it basically tells you what your #1 productivity constraint is, and most most importantly, it offers a solution. So go ahead and click the link, I'll see you there. Now, the third 1-minute habit that saves a ton of time is to use work sprints. So the truth is that a lot of people waste time while they work. So you might be thinking, I'm at my computer, I'm working, I'm not wasting time, right? I'm not on my phone, I'm not doing whatever, I'm being productive. Look, if you're completing a task in 2 hours that you could have completed in 1, you've just wasted an hour, even though you were working the whole time. Low productivity is a waste of time. Duh. But still, it's important to say. Here's the truth. Parkinson's law states that the time it takes to complete a task expands to the amount of time that we give it. So if you sit down at your computer and you've got 3 hours in front of you, you said, I need to get this done before the 3 hours is over. Well, guess what? It's gonna probably take you 3 hours to complete it. Why? Because it's going to expand to fill up that entire time. We're gonna start using work sprints to fix this. So the way work sprints work is the first step is to set a clear task for a certain duration. So let's say when you're just starting out, maybe focusing really intensely for more than 30 minutes is very difficult. So you would say, okay, for the next 30 minutes, I need to complete this task. Then you would set a timer for that amount of time. You would start it and you would race against the clock. You would focus for that duration in order to get the task done. After the time is over, if you need it, you can take a small rest, 5 minutes, and then you repeat over and over again. You'll be getting through tasks a lot quicker. Now, again, Parkinson's law, we can use to our advantage. If you've got a task that usually takes you an hour, just commit to getting it done in the next 30 minutes. And because of Parkinson's law, you're probably gonna get it done. Yes, it's gonna require more effort, more focus, but you'll get it done. Just imagine if you do this every single day and you start completing 2 hours worth of work in 1, then you're saving an hour. Let's say you were doing 2 hours of work per day, you're saving an hour per day. That's 7 hours per week, just because you took the time to write down the task, set a timer, and just start working. You need to start using this right now. The fourth 1-minute habit to save a ton of time is to multitask when you can. There's so many things we want to do in the day, in a week, and there never seems to be enough time to do it all. Well, multitasking is the only way to have time for almost everything. You've been told many times to not multitask, and that's true when you work. When you work, you need to be focused on one task at a time and just be doing that one thing. When you're doing these other things that maybe don't require the same amount of focus, then try and as much as possible, try and do 2 things at the same time. So, as a first example, you said you were gonna read 10 pages per day in 2026, every single day. But you also wanna spend more time with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whoever, then you could combine those by saying, okay, tonight we're gonna, for 30 minutes, we're just gonna cuddle, but I'm gonna have a book in my hand, right? So maybe we can't talk, but we're still gonna cuddle. It is time spent with your partner and you're reading. You're doing 2 things. Next, you want to spend more time with your friend, but you also need to go to the gym. Well, why not only hang out with your friend when you go to the gym? So you work out together, you're doing 2 things at the same time, very efficient. The last one here, you have chores to do. You need to clean the dishes, but you also really want to catch up on your favorite TV show. Well, you could have the rule of only watching TV shows when you're doing chores. You're multitasking and saving a ton of time. Now, what if you say, okay, this whole thing about always doing 2 things at the same time, always trying to be efficient, like that can't be healthy, right? And to a certain extent, you're right. Like if your goal is to rest, right? It's past 8 p.m. You've got one goal, it is to just rest, then go ahead. Just do one thing, right? Just hang out with the girlfriend or just watch TV shows, no cleaning. That's okay. That is good for rest. But look, you're asking me how to save time. You're asking me how to get more out of each day. This is one of the tools that you can use. Let me remind some of you, I'm the bald guy on YouTube that you go to when you need to save time, get more done. I'm not the bald guy on YouTube that you go to be more fulfilled and happier and live a simpler life, a slower one. That's okay. That'll probably be me in 20 years, right? I'll become that bald guy for you. But right now in our 20s, we've got some shit to do, and this is what needs to happen. The final 1-minute habit that you can do right now to save a ton of time is to have default entertainment rules. So here's the thing about entertainments. That's usually where most people waste their time. You rarely hear someone wasting a bunch of time on meditation, right? So we want to control entertainments because here's the truth, random entertainments can cost a lot of time. When I say random entertainments, it just means that, okay, on any given day, it's the middle of the day, and you just decide that, okay, I'm a little bit tired here, I need to rest a bit. And so you go on your phone and you start scrolling. An hour ends up passing by and you're like, whoa, where did the time go? Or it's the morning and you're like, oh, let me start a bit slower today. I'm just kind of feeling under the weather. So you open up the TV, watch your favorite TV show, you end up watching 2 full episodes. Like, gee, 1.5 hours just gone right there. That's what I mean by random entertainments. It can cost you a lot of time. So what you need to do is to set clear rules and contain your entertainments so they never take up too much time. Here's a few examples. No TV shows before 8 p.m. So there's never a question of, oh, do I want to watch TV shows right now? Oh, maybe I shouldn't. Do I have work to do? Maybe what time is, I don't, no. Before 8 p.m., there is no TV shows. That could be your rule. You're gonna end up saving a lot of time. No short form content at all. You could say, you know what, I don't even want to watch short form content after 8 p.m. It's just, it doesn't need to be part of my life. I never want to watch it. It's a waste of time. You could set that rule. If you want to play video games, you could say, okay, only on Sunday night, right? So every Sunday night, starting at 6 p.m., I'm allowed to game with the boys. That could be your rule. It is a way of containing it, because if you don't, you end up gaming like every single night, a lot of wasted time. When you don't have those clear rules, you end up using a lot of willpower, because you always have to resist. Your brain wants to go do this other thing, but you have to resist because you know that you should be working instead. But when you've got clear rules, just like you would if you were at work or in school, then your brain just sort of accepts the fact that no, there's no short form content. There's no TV shows because it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon. It becomes a lot easier to save time and to do the right things. All right, that's it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. You're gonna start implementing those little habits. Now, I have one thing to ask you. If you could kindly subscribe to the channel, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Pretty outrageous goal, but I believe it's possible with your help. So if you could kindly subscribe to the channel, only if you enjoyed the video, all right? You can also click the first link in the description. I would appreciate that as well. And I will see you in the next video.